Hey everybody, welcome to the Unmasking the Narcissist channel. I'm Dean, the host of the Unmasking the Narcissist channel, and also the host of the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Care Network. Today I'm going to be presenting to you episode 15 in the Unmasking the Narcissist series, and the title of episode 15 is How the Male Narcissist Hooks You. So this is actually a sister video to the one that I did about how the female narcissist hooks you in. So we're going to talk a little bit about how the male does this. Probably just going to add a few points to the same subject matter that was in the female video about this, because of course, as we know, narcissists are very similar in their behavior. Both males and females, they use a lot of the same tactics. They do behave a lot the same ways, and depending on the level of the narcissist, especially if you have mid-levels or uppers or graders or even ultras, their behavior is very much the same across the board between the male and the female. But males actually do some other stuff. So if you saw the previous video I did on how females hook you in, you can reference that video. I'll put a link in that video in this one to anybody who wants to see that, because of course some of the criteria for females is exactly the same as males. You can go check out that video and then you can see what we're talking about as far as males go in this particular one. So as I've said before, when it comes to how the narcissist actually gets you into their fuel matrix, males and females are very similar in their behavior. What similarities do males have to females? Again, just most of their behavior as narcissists in general. They're all very up and down with their behavior, often very bipolar in their types of behavior, not very stable, a lot of lying, a lot of deception, a lot of hiding, a lot of stuff of that nature, as we've discussed before. But some of the things that differentiate a male and the way that they hook a female from the way that females do this is females use more of their seductive nature to lure in males, because of course this is what females are good at. This is not to say that a male can't do this as well too, and of course, as we have people out there too, or who are sometimes interested, you know, it'll be a male who's interested in a male, or a female who's interested in a female. There's of course a lot of cross-pollination, of course, in the behaviors there of narcissists who fall into these gender or non-binary gender categories as well too. But that's the topic for a whole other video. But in this particular instance, when we look at males and the way that males hook in females, females have a tendency to not care quite as much as to the way their victims look. Of course, everybody likes somebody who's attractive, but females will often go for males who might be less attractive than them, because they're easier to control. This is not true, of course, of all narcissists, but this is one of the things that females particularly do. Males, on the other hand, have a tendency to pick out the most attractive females, although they usually stay within the category of what they think they're able to get as far as quality of looks, quality of person with females. Many male narcissists, though, no matter how they look, they could be very average looking or even below average looking, they will often go after females that are much better looking than they are, with the idea that they can actually score these women. And this is due to their narcissism and the factor that they don't really know what level they actually stand at as far as their looks and everything else, and they may go after a female or even another male, if they're interested in males, who may be much better looking than they would usually be able to actually get. And this is one of the things that we see in males and grooming victims, grooming narcissistic victims here, or grooming supplies. One of the things that differentiates with males here too is males have a tendency to display very increased on and off behavior with female narcissistic victims. Females do this again as well too, where they groom a little bit and then they release, but they have a tendency to do more of a thing where they groom a person or they groom a male for a period of time, and that's kind of extended beyond more than a couple of weeks or maybe more than a couple of months, and then they put that male into a devaluation point or a non-contact point with that person. Males, on the other hand, will come on very strong to female victims. They will be very flattering, very complimentary with these females right off the bat. The female may respond to this in whatever way she responds to this, and then boom, the male will kind of like not ghost the female, but he won't talk to her. All of a sudden he's not talking to her, he's not returning her phone calls, he's not texting her, he's not returning her texts. And they do this much more frequently than women actually do when it comes to narcissistic behavior. I have a few examples of this. I have a female friend who I believe is involved with a narcissist, and this narcissist at the beginning did this with her repeatedly, back and forth, at least 2 or 3 times, where he would spend a lot of time with her, and then suddenly, poof, something would go on. He's not even talking to her. He's not returning her phone calls. Something would go on with that, and an imbalance would occur, and suddenly she's getting no contact from him at all. Then, boom, he's back, like this, and then bang, he's gone again. And this went on and off a couple of times, and I have a few other examples of narcissists on my site who've done this with other victims as well too. So this is one of the things that males have a tendency to do much more than females. Also, males are far increased as far as their ghosting behaviors with females than females actually usually are. This occurs also in terms of the factor that they sometimes will separate more easily, if not completely ghosting a person, they'll separate more easily from that person and then work their way back in by some particular means. Another thing that males use as well in this instance to hook you in is increased up and down bipolar anger bouts like this, and they do this again as part of the way that they pull you in or pull the female in to establish control. That up and down behavior where they talk to you and then they don't talk to you, and then suddenly they reappear and then they don't talk to you. That's all part of chemically training your brain to become addicted to them, because you don't know what's coming next. It's like a roller coaster ride, and common sense would say that this would piss you off and tell you to go tell that person to go fuck themselves. But with women are more sensitive to negative behavior and to trying to fix that negative behavior, so they stay with this narcissist instead of telling that narcissist to bugger off. And this is part of what goes on with males as well too. So that increased anger and bipolar up and down behavior, much more pronounced in males than in females. Territoriality in males early on in a relationship is another thing, believe it or not, that actually causes them to hook you in. Now again, some women may not respond to territoriality in some particular way, but the nature of the female in some ways, and again, you can argue with this with me. There are going to be females out there who are probably going to start a fight with me on the N.A.R.C.N network, but what I'm saying is based on science and the science of psychology. Women do like a man who is forward, and when a male is forward and says, hey, I'm going to come get you, we're going to go out for dinner tonight, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, the natural state of females responds to this in a kind of amicable, okay kind of way. And this is just the way a lot of female brains work. It may not be the way all female brains work. I'm not saying all women fall into this category, so please don't go off on me here. But a large majority of females will respond to this. So when a male narcissist gets very territorial very early on, this is part of how they hook you as well too. One of the things that goes along with this as well too early on is starting to display increased control over the female. It can be control over who she hangs out with. It can be control over her friends, control over seeing her family, control over work partners who are around. And it's part of that control thingy that you would think that would make a female back away. But often, depending on what's going on with the narcissist grooming of that appliance or that victim, a lot of the times this will actually hook that person in because of a baser instinct within female chemistry and psyche. It's just one of those things that goes on. So this is another thing that males do to hook you that is different from what females do to hook males. Of course, there are many different parameters related to this, and we could go into a much longer video about that. But these are some of the basic things that males do differently than with females. Territoriality in males who aren't comfortable with themselves and aren't balanced is a very common thing. And of course it's very common with male narcissists that they will become territorial and try to execute control over the female that they're involved with. And a good majority of females will actually respond to this in an amicable way due to just the science of female psychology. So these are some of the things that are very different that males do compared to females. As I said earlier in this video, I'm going to post a link to the female episode of this same topic, so that you can see, if you haven't seen this, if you haven't seen the female video, it'll be attached to this one. You can look at the female aspects, and you can check out the male aspects in this video, and you can see where the crossovers occur between males and females, and it'll give you a better idea of how both males and females actually are groomed by narcissists, and how they effectively hook you in to getting involved with them, and it'll give you just a little bit better idea of that. So this was episode 15 of the Unmasking the Narcissist channel. Hopefully this gave you guys a little bit of information as to how narcissists work with hooking you into their fuel matrix. I'm going to say to you guys, stay tuned. I've got some new content coming up on the N.A.R.C.N network, and also on the Unmasking the Narcissist channel. I hope you guys have an awesome day and an awesome week, and I'll catch you guys really soon with some upcoming videos.